This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 28 of the Healthy Critters Radio on Horse Radio Network. Healthy Critters Radio is brought to you by Biostar US. Find them online at biostarus.com.
On today's show, we talk about dog foods, raw, kibble, and home cooked. We talk about transitioning horses to new feeds and diets, good warming foods for horses, and we all pick what animal we would like to add to our family in 2017. So how was your week, Patty P?
My week was it was very busy, and my weekend was quite cold. I went to a Robert Dover clinic with Stu, which was wonderful, and learned tons of stuff and was reminded of stuff that I should have remembered, which is always fun. And then I went to San Antonio, and I did a clinic, and I taught 34 lessons, and it was 11 degrees.
And of course, were you dressed for 11 degrees?
Here's the thing, Tigger. You know me. I don't like to be cold. That's why when I moved to Houston and everybody said, "What is wrong with you?" And I was like, I would rather be warmer than colder. As Hannah says, Texas is bipolar. So it was like 80 in the morning, and then it was literally like 22 14 hours later. So no, I didn't know that was going to happen. So that was kind of so fortunately people in San Antonio gave me clothes.
So you didn't have your Carhartts?
No, I'm so mad because I had just found them and I didn't even think, it is so hard. And I don't know if I'll ever get used to this, but it is so hard to get up in the morning and have a short sleeve shirt on and then 12 hours later have a front move through and need Carhartts. It's a weird, it's like Florida that way, but it stays colder here longer. You know how in Florida it will have a cold snap and it will stay maybe for 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
Here it stays a little bit longer and it stays cooler longer, which is nice. But I just didn't look ahead. And that was because my first lesson was at 7:30 in the morning. It was a full cold.
Oh
yeah, it was tough. But anyway, I have such an amazing clientele there. They take very good care of me, and I taught out of my car at one point. Yeah. It's like, I came out and a friend of mine's husband gave me this big coat that I had on top of my 5 other coats, and it really did it was like that last coat, that 5th coat made the difference. You know what I mean?
And you didn't have gloves or hat or anything or scarf?
I had a hat because I keep that in my car, and I have gloves because once it gets 60, I'm cold. So I had that already in my car. But I kind of looked like the abominable snowman because I was like coming out but it was definitely, it was cold. And I have to say, people that could, really deal with extreme weather, like obviously it gets very hot here. What troopers. I had 34 lessons that I taught and not one person canceled. Not one. It was 20-mile-an-hour winds. I was pretty impressed.
We have another word for that in Virginia.
It's called stupid. I understand that. But these are dedicated people. And I love them.
Like, what are you thinking?
Yeah. Well, our good friend Patty Farless would love to tell you the story about when I was supposed to go somewhere to go teach a clinic, and she had a ride at 6:30 in the morning. It was 9 degrees, and I had 3 pair of gloves. I had 1 pair on and 2 that I was sitting on, and she would come by and we would exchange them.
Oh my gosh. Preheated gloves. Oh my gosh.
It was pretty funny. Because I was under an electric blanket, my Carhartts. Kathy Rouse bought me this electric jacket, so I was like all set to go. And she would come out about every 10 minutes, and she's like, "New set." So I take them off, give them to her. I'd preheat the next one.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's called dedication. Stupid dedication, but it's called dedication.
No kidding. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
What was your week like, Jennifer?
Let's see here. My week consisted of about 95 podcasts to edit. But
Oh,
yeah, well, we're going away next week. We're going up home to Pennsylvania to visit my family. So all the shows that are going on the week we're gone, plus all the shows that happen between Christmas and New Year's, all have to get done before we leave.
Right.
boy.
Yeah, Glenn has a strict policy of no work during vacation, which never really works because there's always something that's broke.
Oh, that's so cute and funny.
Yeah, it's funny. And then we had a little extra drama because one of the show websites crashed and all the data disappeared.
Oh.
Yeah, it was
Horse Radio Network crashed?
No, one of the subsites.
Ah.
It was one show that was affected. If the entire Horse Radio Network show had crashed or site had crashed, there would have been a headline and you'd have seen it on CNN.
Oh, yeah, I have no doubt.
Florida would have been in the news again. But on the good side, I got to ride my Orky several times this week, and it was wonderful.
Oh.
Yay!
Yeah. How's the weather there? Are you guys?
It's been unusually warm.
Oh, well,
in the
like
80s.
Okay.
It's actually warm enough to go swimming in our pool right now.
Oh, that's just disgusting on so many.
It's awful. It's just awful. Scooter with his winter coat is just miserable. And today it finally cooled off. It was in the high 60s, low 70s today. So it cooled off a little bit.
I'm surprised you guys didn't get the front that we had.
Well, we did. We got the leftovers of the front, and the leftovers consisted of a breeze. And it went from 80 to 60, you know? That's
Yeah.
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 So that's what happens when you start out at 80.
Well,
you have a long way to go until you get to discomfort.
It's so funny how different it is. It's just the weather is so crazy. It's so crazy.
But it's been lovely here. I got to ride my pony a couple times this week. We had a great time. Did some flat work and had a couple of breakthrough light bulb moments. Yay, us.
Who doesn't love that?
And
Me too.
Yeah, I had to ride through the zombie donkey apocalypse today, and I did not die.
Wow.
Yes. We have one little section of the neighborhood here where I ride that it has donkeys on both sides, and of course Nigel is deathly afraid of donkeys.
And for good reason.
Well, I think a lot of them are afraid. I honestly, how many people can walk up on a donkey and have their horse be okay? Not mine. Just gonna say.
Yep. Well, the donkeys were full of themselves today, and I had not ridden down this particular road in probably 2 months because that's where the donkeys are. And the donkeys have not been out in weeks and weeks and weeks. The donkeys are currently pastured at the other side of those properties. We'd have nothing to worry about. So I turn the corner and I hear snorting, and the only thing over there to snort is a donkey.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So okay, here we go. So we got about a third of the way through the gauntlet, and I made a wise decision to turn down a side street and do a couple of circles, and then make a planned and sedate dismount.
Oh yeah.
Because it's on a road. It's not like I have a choice. It's on a road.
Right.
So when the feet start flying, things don't go well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the feet flying everywhere. No, don't want to go crashing. So dismounted, and he danced sideways while I walked past the zombie apocalypse. Yes.
Yeah. That's funny, Tigger. I don't know if that you remember when we were at that last place in we were off of Sea Road in Florida. And we would go on a trail ride, and we were walking along, and it was, me and Andy, and we were on the older horses that can handle stuff, right? No big deal, except most horses aren't good with an emu.
Oh no!
And Andy would make this thrumming noise, which was shocking. Like, I couldn't even believe he could figure it out. And every one of the horses, and it wasn't like, it was one of those feelings like, not that they're going to run away, but they're literally going to die under your feet because they're like, this isn't natural. I'm just going to go ahead and die.
I love it when you can feel their heart beating on your calf. I love that part.
Not really. That's not my favorite. just gonna point that out. Yeah, yeah.
Emu.
And then,
oh my gosh.
Emu. Scary. And it was so funny because it was like an attack emu, and it was out in the field with a pony and another horse, and the pony and the horse would come running over like, oh my gosh, there's friends here, yay, and the thing would come over and make that really low kind
emu
of, I guess
noise.
what you call whatever. And it was like, crap, that's scary. I don't care who you. And the horses like would grow cement legs, and they would just stand there, and then you could feel trembling.
Oh, I hate it when they stop and park like that. When they're frozen, it's going to end badly.
Yeah, there's nothing. And fortunately, we were fine. But so we passed by, and then we went on with our trail road, only to realize that we had to go by it again. So,
oh my
and
gosh.
yeah, and the worst part of it is we did that more than once. So that just goes to tell you about our sanity level. Like, let's just go out again and see if they're over it. They weren't. They were not over it.
Wow. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, the frozen legs. Yeah, that's why I dismounted, because it was getting harder and harder to keep those legs moving.
Yeah.
And the last time the legs froze up, it wasn't a pretty thing at all. There were big divots in the lawn next door after that. And had to go repair them. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's never fun.
Yeah,
that's never fun.
Yeah. So Tigger, did you ever have an encounter with an exotic animal that was memorable?
On horseback?
On horseback.
Yeah.
Because I've had them on 2 feet. With an exotic animal, peacocks.
Yeah, peacocks are also bad. Yeah.
Yeah, they really are.
Well, I mean, especially when you get the ones that like kind of spread their things,
Exactly. They're like, hi.
No, go away. There's nothing about you I need to know. Yeah. Yeah.
Or when they just sort of fly in.
And
they make that calling sound.
Yeah, and we have peacocks all over our neighborhood. They're actually feral here.
Oh,
wow.
Really?
Yeah, we have some feral peacocks because people get them as pets, and then they get loose. We have all kinds. We have feral cattle, feral peacocks, feral dogs, feral everything down here. People just feral pythons. People just turn it loose in Florida.
Yeah, there are definitely feral pythons down there for sure.
Those. And the horses have kind of gotten used to the peacocks now, because they're just there all the time. They wander through the pastures and that sort of thing.
Oh.
And they've kind of gotten used to the rattlesnakes too.
Oh, I don't even want to hear that.
Yeah, I don't either.
I'm not a snake gal.
So were the peacocks roosting up in a tree and fly down on your head?
Not on my head, but in front of the horse.
That's close enough. It may as well have been on your head.
Or flying up on the edge of the arena. That's always fun.
And it seems like in Florida, for some reason, because at that same place that we were at, Tigger, they had a peacock farm not far past the.
I know. I took pictures of it.
Yeah, and and so that we remember we could hear them all the time. And remember there was an albino one. Do you remember that? That was kind of cool.
Wow.
It was cool when you were on foot. Not so cool when you're riding.
Wow.
Well, we're going to talk about dog food. I don't know how to seg it
Speaking
from
of peacocks,
peacock food.
Speaking of peacocks and emus and rattlesnakes,
let's talk about dog food.
I wonder if dogs would enjoy rattlesnake.
Peacock
It tastes
food.
like chicken.
Isn't that alligator?
No, that's frog legs.
That's frog.
Oh, frog legs. That's right. Yeah. How did I get that so wrong? Don't even answer. Don't even answer.
Yes.
Don't. I was kidding. It just came out of my mouth. I didn't mean it.
So what do you guys feed? What's your feeding fundamentals?
I think Jennifer should go first.
Oh, thanks. You're just trying to avoid the teacher's wrath.
Well, I'm not. Well, I don't think
This is
she'd be
not a
upset with me.
teachable moment.
This is not a teachable moment. If
No.
we hear that's all. I know you too well, woman. I know you too well.
My dog enjoys eating her packaged kibble from the grocery store. Now, you notice I didn't say anything in there about it being good for her. I just said she enjoys eating it.
Yeah. And I enjoy buying it because it's convenient.
It's really, really convenient.
And she's still alive.
She's still alive. She's sitting under my foot.
Oh, and we hear her.
That's not mine. That must be more Tigger's.
That would be mine.
I should have known better.
Even Tigger's dogs hate the fact that our dogs eat kibble, Patty.
Yeah, I know. So, Jennifer, are you ever going to admit what it is you feed, or do you just want to go on to Tigger?
It's dog food and it's kibble.
Okay.
And it's an economical brand.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And you can buy it when you're in the store, which
and I can
there's
buy it at the grocery store, which is,
okay. And I will say this now, Tigger, breathe evenly. In research in what I have done, because I wanted to feed a grain, when I got the Frenchies, I wanted to feed a grain-free dog food. And my problem was I was too busy between riding and what I had to do with my son and blah, blah, blah. I was feeding Rachel Ray grain feed, and that grain-free, I think it's called zero grain or something. That actually is something you can get in the grocery store that is not a bad kibble. And I don't think it's that expensive. And so I fed that for a while. My problem is the Frenchies, for all the listeners that know Frenchies and possibly have them, they're flagellators. Flagellation means farters.
I didn't know flatulate could be made into a noun, and there you go.
Yes, yeah, they're flagellators. And well, if you spend even one evening with my dogs, you would go, yes, it's a noun. They are adorable, but they are very tooty. And so I ended up, I actually had heard from a local pet store about a company called From. And I think you and I, Tigger, have talked about this a little bit. And the biggest thing with me is that if they have so much gas and it's really bad, that's got to be bad for them. So I went to this dog food called From, and it's been really it's been great because they still are flagellators, but they're not nearly as bad. They don't wake you up at night.
Well, that's good. I wouldn't want you to lose sleep over it.
Well, I did.
Or need a gas mask.
Tigger, but you know how bad it is. It is bad. It is like people get up and leave the room bad. People look around and make that face like, how could you ever bad?
Patty.
Yeah. Yes.
That is not normal.
Well, no, but now they don't, because I put them on this different dog food. I put them on From, and they're better. They're totally better. No, it's not normal, but it's a Frenchie thing. They're farters. They're little tootie dogs. It's true.
So is there a reason that you don't feed raw?
Me?
Uh-huh.
Well, I do. So one of the things since I've gotten Burke, the breeder of him had fed him raw, and
may we just remind everybody that this is not a Frenchie. This is an Australian Shepherd.
Oh my gosh, and he's so adorable. I'm looking at him right now, and my heart kind of hurts. He's an Australian Shepherd, and for me, I travel a lot, and the purpose of me getting Burke was to have something a little bit bigger to travel with. And when it gets very hot in the summer, the Frenchies have a lot of breathing problems, and I don't like to be concerned about traveling with them if I were to ever break down, blah, blah, blah. And so she fed raw, and, of course and I have a lot of clients that are vets, so I always like to pull what, my vets say and whatever. And most of my vets were all for raw, but the problem I had was the convenience of that. So I started using Stella and Chewy's, which you and I have had a discussion over. And I have to tell you, it's been really wonderful. Now I've been doing it for, I guess I've had them, about 6 weeks. And the biggest thing that I was told, besides the fact that it's a very nice balanced diet. Now, Stella and Chewy's is a frozen food that I actually get from my one feed store, which is awesome. And you can get, lamb or venison or chicken or blah, 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 blah. There's all different versions of it. And it's just like a patty that you let defrost, and you can either give them the whole patty or put it in with a kibble. And I put it in with a kibble. But I can travel with that. I can have that like in my cooler, in my Yeti cooler, and keep that cool, where it would be a little bit harder with the raw food. Because I'd be too worried about the consistency of how cold it was. And I've been really happy with this. But I've been told that it really helps their teeth. And I think you were the one that told me that, weren't you, Tiggs?
Well, certain raw food blends like Stella and Chewy's, the bones are already ground.
Mm-hmm.
So you're getting all the good calcium that
Right.
you need for good bones and good teeth.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I think a raw food purist, they would feed the raw bones. They'd feed marrow
Yes.
bones and
And that's how he was
turkey
raised.
necks. And,
Mm-hmm.
it's great. It's just not so practical for a lot of dog owners.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what I've been feeding raw, and sometimes I do cooked, and I really try to do diversity, lots of different proteins.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you feed the same protein day after day, week after week, month after month, those are the dogs that can develop food allergies, food sensitivities, and they become really quirky, finicky eaters. So
Why is that?
I'm not
why?
exactly sure,
Okay.
but it's maybe just the same dynamic as a kid who
Mm.
gets French fries every day, and then you say, you know what, it's time for you to have broccoli, and they go, no.
Forget it!
Yeah, not doing that. You say a kid, I say an adult would do that. Okay.
So, what I really like to do is focus on variety with my dogs. So they never know from one meal to the next what it's going to be.
Getting. Right.
But I found this really interesting book, and it's called Unlocking the Canine Ancestral Diet. And it's written by a guy named Steve Brown. And he sort of looks at what a wolf and the early canines ate and translates it into protein, fat, carbohydrates, right? Because that's how we break down food. And the difference between the ratios of the ancestral diet and the ratios of commercial dog food, and it's really quite shocking. So an ancestral dog diet is primarily protein and fat.
Interesting.
That's it.
Okay.
The carbohydrates, meaning the plants and berries and stuff like that, that is somewhere around 14%.
Interesting.
And the way commercial dog food is made is that the carbohydrate is more like 50%, because that's the cheap ingredients.
Okay. Well, that makes sense, obviously.
So in reading this book and thinking of it in terms of percentage of protein and fat, really fat and, protein and fat could be both 40% each, giving you 20% for fiber and carbohydrates. And most commercial dog food isn't like that at all.
Right.
I mean, they're generally in the 20% protein and maybe 20% fat. So that leaves, at 40%, that leaves 60% for carbohydrates. That's a lot.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Can you say potato chip?
Yeah, exactly. So here's another question, Tigger, and also you, Jennifer. How often do people feed their puppies and also their adult dogs?
How often? Oh, I feed twice a day.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is good.
Puppies I feed 3 times a day.
Yeah, me too.
I can't tell you since so long since we had a puppy. Now, growing up, we always had a herd of dogs in the house, and they were always large dogs. We used the self-feeding method. The big bag of kibble was opened up, the sides folded over, and it just sat there, and everybody just ate out of it.
Which, it's so funny because I was never raised that way, but it sounds like it really is. If you can do that, it sounds like it's actually a really good way to let them be. What do you think, Tiggs?
I totally disagree.
You do? Why?
Because, okay, let's again think back to early dog and as they evolved from a wolf. A wolf goes out on a kill, right? Hunts down the prey. The pack is sharing it. And then they either drag the carcass or protect the carcass and, dine on it the next day. And then there's nothing left because all the other scavengers have gotten to it. And it's time to go hunting again. And then they may go a day or two and not have any food.
Mm.
And then they hunt again. I don't think it's normal dog behavior to eat constantly, although there's a lot of evidence that when you put a big pan of kibble out, the dogs will self-regulate.
Right, because that's
over time.
Yeah. Okay. Because that was my thinking. I've never self-fed. I've never done that. I'm too much of a control freak. You will
Me
get
too.
this, I say, and you're going to look at me and smile.
Plus, it takes away all diversity.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Which is really going against the grain of the gut, because the gut really does need different kinds of proteins and different kinds of fats.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And that's why, things like cottage cheese and kefir and lassi and venison and buffalo, and I just got some duck and quail.
So I have a question. So
yes,
it's probably not, but if in the perfect world, if it were possible to create a packaged, let's call it kibble, that had appropriate ingredients in it for people who like Patty and I, who are lazy and go with convenience. Is kibble in and of itself the bad part, or is it the fact that kibble has to get created with lots and lots of ingredients that really aren't necessarily good for the dog?
Both.
So why, I get the ingredients part, but why is it also bad to have it? Why is the other part
because
also
to
bad?
make kibble, you have to extrude the ingredients.
Yeah.
And then you have to cook the.
So it's the
heck out of it.
processing.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Processing. Okay.
Because with all that processing, sucks what good stuff is in the ingredients out of the ingredients.
Exactly. Yeah.
Gotcha.
They call the extrusion process, the food that comes out of the extruder is called pink slime. Yum.
That's going to be the new bad guy in the next Ghostbuster movies. That's going to be the new bad guy. It's going to take over San Francisco.
Yeah, exactly.
So now I forgot my question. I was reading a little bit about raw foods and things in preparation for today's show. And some of the websites that you come to, because of course everybody knows that everything on the internet is true. There's homemade dog food that isn't raw. And a lot of people have recipes for making dog food for your dog at home. And it's cooked dog food.
Yeah. Now I do that. That's one of that's part of the variety is the crock pot gets, we throw in the meat and water, and sometimes I'll make bone broth at the same time. So I'm making bone broth, throwing in the meat, the bones and some peas, and then I cook all night and boom, dog food in the morning. And my theory is that when the dogs were coming, the wolves were coming around mankind, and there were some friendly wolves, and the humans had found fire, and they were cooking their meat and throwing their bones, and the dogs were eating cooked food. So that is not such a stretch.
Then the way we cook food at home in a crock pot, for example, is not the same as a commercial factory would cook food to create pink slime.
Correct.
It's a very different process, yes.
Very different. 100% different.
There you go. So for folks like Patty and I who are lazy and buy kibble for our dogs,
The lazy part hurts, man.
I don't think it's lazy. I think that we have been taught that dry kibble is good for your dog.
Well, it's good for their teeth. It gets the tartar off.
No, it
Right,
doesn't
which is-
actually.
Yeah, it
it's terrible.
No, it doesn't. It's very, very hard, so it just shatters. They need something about the consistency of a carrot to do their gums any good. I did learn that. So for folks like us who maybe for the benefit of our canine's health need to take baby steps towards a better diet, is it useful and helpful for our dogs to have a partially kibble and partially fresh food diet?
Yes. That's one of the best ways to start is even, 2 or 3 meals a week. I use literally raw bison.
So give us a scenario. We will make Glory our Glory, my greyhound. We will make her our guinea pig. She gets a cup of kibble twice a day.
So you would reduce it to, and what's her weight look like?
She's 50 pounds and just right.
Okay. So you're going to cut the kibble in half. And you're going to add, I would say, half a cup of raw bison. And maybe an egg or a little...
a raw egg?
A raw egg, but
A
make
whole
sure
raw
it's from...
egg?
Yeah, but
Wow.
make sure it's from... it's not from, make sure it's
From
like
the same
local.
grocery store that the kibble came from?
Yeah, no.
It's not next to the puppy chow.
And if you can't get, a locally grown, a local sourced egg like from a neighbor, then scramble up some eggs. Scramble one egg.
So is an egg that has been cooked not quite as good as a raw one?
Correct.
Okay.
But it's better than none. Or you can just go add some kefir or some cottage cheese.
She likes
And I
cottage
mean
cheese.
little, like a teaspoon or a tablespoon. You don't need a lot. It's the whole idea of variety. And then add some water and mix it all together with the kibble.
Is pumpkin good? Tell me pumpkin's good.
Pumpkin is awesome.
Because I love feeding my dog pumpkin. Because she likes it.
Yeah, it's so good. And you know what? A really good meal is canned sardines in your food processor with some organic canned pumpkin.
Oh, I can do that. Sardines and pumpkin. Now, for my 50-pound just right greyhound, who is on a normally kibble diet right now, if I wanted to give her a couple times a week a serving of pumpkin and sardines, what would I use? Like a quarter of a cup of pumpkin, a couple tablespoons of pumpkin? See, this is why I don't do it. It's too confusing.
Okay, so throw out the measurements.
Okay.
Just take a can of sardines, put it in your food processor. Take a couple of tablespoons, maybe 2, maybe 3. Follow your intuition. Add it. You can't feed too much of pumpkin, but you don't want more pumpkin than sardines. And it
Glory
doesn't
would
have to
agree,
be
by the
50.
way, that you cannot feed her too much pumpkin.
Yeah.
And grind it up and add a couple of tablespoons to the kibble. But lower the amount of kibble because she's getting more fat and protein from the sardine.
The one caveat to this is it's going to cost me $69.95 to start down this path because if Glenn ever finds out then any fish got anywhere near any of his kitchen equipment, I would be a divorce court.
He doesn't like fish?
Oh, he can't watch people cook fish on TV.
Isn't that funny?
He's got something broken there, that dude. Yeah. Love him to death.
Well, then start with buffalo.
There we go.
Like,
start with buffalo. There we go. I'm gonna have fun. I'm gonna have to go to Facebook to my local friends and find a place to find buffalo. Ocala's not a great
it's
food
in most
town.
Grocery stores.
You've not lived in Ocala, have you?
No.
No. Ocala's not a good food town.
Okay, so if you can't find bison, look for grass-fed beef.
That I can find.
Okay.
I think I'm going to start out easy because that little tiny can of sardines, I can hide that in the back of the cupboard. Glenn won't know it's there. And I can can of pumpkin, easy because I make pumpkin pie all the time. I can manage that.
Okay.
Eggs I can do because there's a lady down the street who has chickens.
Perfect.
See,
Oh,
I can
perfect,
do
yeah.
this. I can go for a Monday, Wednesday, and Friday happy meal. It's going to be Glory's happy meal.
Right.
We'll check in a couple of months and I'll let you know how it's going.
And don't forget your crock pot. You can throw a chicken in there, a breast. You can and add some water and maybe some peas or
Now
carrots.
you're starting to overwhelm me, Tigger.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm overwhelming you with a crock pot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Baby steps.
Okay.
Baby
Okay.
steps. We're gonna get 2 steps of Piaf today, and then we're gonna quit and eat a
Yep.
sugar cube.
And we're gonna let it go. We're gonna go.
Okay, well, I
so-
would like to invite our listeners to help Jennifer and Patty. And if any of you feed cooked or raw,
We wanna
please
hear
send
about
us your recipes.
it. We want to hear. I want
Well,
your
that- yeah.
recipes. Yes.
And I used, it's Tigger. A long time when we were in Ruckersville, I did a lot of cooked stuff. And remember, I had Tessa and oh gosh, I think I had 2 other little small dogs, and I would do I would cook it and then I would freeze it so I would have it, because I would try to do it like once a week. And the problem for me was it was time consuming, and so that's why I kind of like the idea of raw, because if you can have it or defrost it or whatever,
Oh, it's
so easy
great.
to food.
It's
yeah,
great.
or feed. Excuse me. Yeah.
Now, can you speaking of which, and this will be my last question on this topic, in Glory's example of her pumpkin and sardine and egg conglomeration.
But I wouldn't feed the egg with a sardine.
Oh, skip the sardine. Either an egg or a sardine, but not both. Got it. Don't miss your
Correct.
fish and your eggs. We're going to be kosher.
But you could do an egg and the bison
Egg and
together.
the bison. Okay. Can that be frozen?
Yes,
Okay.
the sardines can be frozen.
Got it. So, because that's something because we used to back in the day when we had our kitty cat, I cooked for the cat. That was more special because the cat forced me to cook for the cat because the cat got sick all the time if I didn't. See, that's the thing. The dog just does. Sure, I'll eat it. Doesn't throw it up everywhere.
You know what you might find? Changing her diet may change her stress.
Yes, because she is,
Or
as you know,
anxiety.
she's an easily stressed dog. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we're
And
going to give that
remember,
a try.
processed food is stressed food.
We're gonna. That's gonna be Glory's New Year's resolution to eat healthy.
Yay!
How about you, Patty?
Ah.
Are you gonna step up and tell us and what are you,
You
gonna?
know,
What's your gonna be baby step?
I already feed a raw food. The problem that I have is that I travel too much and I can't travel with raw food. And so that's kind of where I get stuck. And when I travel, then I have people that have to come and take care of the dog. So that's really where that's really my biggest hang up is my kind of erratic schedule.
Well, that's
So-
the nice thing about Stella and Chewy's, and that's why I
Yes.
use Tucker's, which is similar to Stella and Chewy's. And it's frozen. You take it out, you thaw it, you feed it.
Yeah.
Boom,
Yeah.
done.
Yeah. But the only downfall to it is that if I were to feed just that for my whole crew, it's very expensive. So that's why I mix
Well, you
it.
know what I have found? Now I am feeding 2, 4, 6 dogs raw.
Right.
I mean, some cooked. That once they adjust to it, you feed less in volume.
Which, yeah. Yeah.
And I'm adding, a couple of other little things like kefir or lassi,
Right.
pumpkin. But in volume, I think there's a problem with our food bowls, our canine food bowls.
They're giant, like our plates.
They're exactly.
Yeah.
And so even a cup of dry dog food, really, when you think about it, it's a lot.
Yeah. Especially when you think about the size of their stomachs.
Correct. So, I can feed 2 dogs with 1 Tucker's patty.
Really?
Yeah, I add water, add a little bit of, kefir or lassi or pumpkin and that gives it a little bit more volume, but it's still a protein and a fat.
Right.
And it's made a huge difference with Sabi, who we all know, was tipping the scales.
Oh,
And
Of perfectness.
of no, and he was still getting from. So he was getting some dry and some raw or some cooked, and I
Right.
just stopped the dry. Boom, done. And in in 2 months, he's lost 6.5 pounds,
Wow.
which is a good way. I mean, you want them to lose it. You don't want them to
Slowly.
lose it really fast.
Yeah.
No.
No.
And already I can see a difference. And their stool is different. They don't produce as much waste.
It's much crap.
I'm all for less dog poo.
Yeah.
Let's just put that out there.
Yeah,
well,
me too, especially when you have so many.
Exactly. And that's the great thing about raw is that their body utilizes way more of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, this has been a fascinating discussion, and obviously the three of us are passionate about it and dedicated to it to different degrees. Apparently I get third place on this discussion.
No, you don't, because you get actually kind of first place because you have decided to have a New Year's resolution, and I just kind of said, nope, still too busy.
No, Glory is having a New Year's resolution. As soon as she heard the word pumpkin, she was in.
Yeah, I bet she's quite happy.
But I think it's about time for us to give Hedwig a call, and we're going to find out what Hedwig wants from Santa.
Hello, have you solved your technological incompetences?
Hedwig!
Eddie!
Hello, Tigger and Patty, and who is the third person today? I don't like to guess.
Jennifer's here this time.
Jennifer! Hello, Jennifer.
Hello.
How are you?
Where are you?
I am suffering once again through a very long day of clinicking. The need for people to learn dressage is bizarre. Why would you ever want to do this ridiculous activity?
Yeah, well, we kind of had that discussion earlier. I think a lot of people can be very dedicated. What was the word we used, Tigger?
Stupid.
Dedicated or need to be institutionalized, one or the other. Certainly there are ways to consider this.
Yeah.
Is it freezing cold where your servant was teaching?
Oh no, toasty warm, absolutely lovely. The high was 36.
Oh. Oh. Do you like that type of weather?
She's a little crabby because she's been cold. Oh, about 12 hours ago. Yes, that's when she started. She's a little cranky now, but please do not hold this against her. I do my best not to.
So, Hedwig, I have a question for you.
Okay. I have answers, many answers.
I know you have answers. I know you do. Well, this is in the Christmas spirit. What would you do, or what would you ask for if you sat
Banana peanut butter cookies.
on Santa Claus's lap?
Oh, well, first of all, I'm a little scared of people with beards to go poorly, but I would endeavor to overcome my terror. So I really would like two things. One is a jet plane, please. I would really like a jet plane because my servant is irresponsibly leaving for Florida early this season because it is so flipping cold and our farm resembles a glacier and the horses are getting a mite cranky, and she says she is too old to be a human lunge line. I don't think so. She's very good at it. Just the other day, the stallion galloped and galloped and galloped and galloped and galloped, and she held on just fine. But, you know, if she feels like she's too old, who am I to go against her sense? But if we go to Florida early, we are responsible still for visiting our family on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. We have a trip planned to Syracuse to see the grandfather and the grandmother and also the Aunt May. And so we have to go. So I am being left in Florida with a den instead of getting to go for a nice holiday because we don't have a private jet.
Okay. Okay. So jet is one, and what would the second thing be?
Peanut butter banana cookies, they're so good.
Peanut butter banana cookies. Okay, Tigger, register that. I'm sure
Boy,
you are.
I thought it was for sure going to be cheese.
I did too. I'm a little disappointed, but peanut butter banana is our new thing, I think.
Hedwig is always full of surprises.
It's true.
Well, remember, it is holiday baking time, and my servant makes these absolutely amazing peanut butter banana cookies that anyone can make for their pet.
Oh, I think I would like to try
He
it.
makes them. They're very simple. You just take bananas, preferably very ripe bananas, and peanut butter, not the kind with actual crunchy bits of peanuts, the kind smooth, creamy. And then you put in some honey, the raw type of honey, and you sort of squash it all together with some wheat germ, and then you put it in the oven, and then you feed it to your pet.
Okay. So a jet and cookies.
A jet and
Works
cookies.
for
That's
me.
perfect. Perfect,
Okay, I
Hedwig.
got it.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
I got it.
Happy New Year to all. Merriest of holidays. Enjoy your feasting and your Santaing and whatever you might get up to. Now I'm a little concerned about what that might be, but whatever works for you, enjoy your lovely holidays.
Thank you, Hedwig.
Thank you, Hattie.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, Hetty.
Bye.
So we're at the Tigapedia section of the show, and the question that I have for Tigapedia is, how do you transition your horse onto a new feed, whether it be a whole food diet or from one grain to the next?
I like to do it over 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I do is that it takes time for the microorganisms in the gut to get used to the new formulations of food.
Right.
So what I generally do is the first week, half the old food and half the new food.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second week, a handful of the old food and all the new food.
Right.
And doing it that way, I'm going to knock on wood. I have never had a problem in transition. The caveat to this is I have had some horses that were seriously, seriously sick that we needed to change the diet immediately.
Right.
And we changed that day and didn't have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
I think because the body was just so struggling that getting the horse onto a whole food diet quickly was
what it
really
needed.
Best way to get the horse out of crisis. So, but my general recommendation is take 2 weeks, take your time, and let the microorganisms get adjusted to the new diet. And it really, these transitions are really, really easy. In Critter Nutrition today, we're going to talk about warming foods for horses. Several years ago, on a cold December day, I was setting up feed in the barn and adding some warming food ingredients, things like hawthorn berry powder, pumpkin seeds, cinnamon, dehydrated butternut squash, some yeast, sesame seeds, holy basil. And I thought to myself, there has got to be an easier way. Adding specific warming foods to your horse's diet in the winter can help older horses maintain good circulation, provide a good variety of foods for the widely diverse population of microorganisms in the gut, support digestion of fiber in the gut, reduce stress, and support the immune system. Biostar's product Thermal was born of a need to make feeding time in winter easier and yet provide these important therapeutic warming foods for my horses. The ingredients for Biostar's Thermal are organic pumpkin seeds, which provide the amino acid arginine, which is a substrate for nitric oxide production in the body. Nitric oxide is the master circulatory molecule. Increased circulation helps keep horses warm. Hawthorn berries is a peripheral vasodilator. It dilates the coronary artery and thereby enhancing blood flow. In England, it is common for horses to eat the new young leaves from hawthorn trees in the spring. It is a wonderful plant for older horses because it helps with circulation and strengthening the heart. The yeasts, Saccharomyces cerevisiae, Saccharomyces boulardii, are considered a warming food in Ayurvedic medicine. This probiotic yeast works in the hindgut to digest fiber and maintain a proper pH of the hindgut. Cinnamon is a warming spice which improves circulation and digestion. It is used traditionally in the treatment of respiratory and sinus congestion. Human studies have pointed to cinnamon's role in regulating blood sugar. Cinnamon does provide some antibacterial as well as antifungal properties. Holy basil. Recognized as one of Ayurvedic medicine's Rasayana herbs, the literal meaning is path of essence, that which promotes health and longevity. In Western herbalism, holy basil is classified as an adaptogen, a plant that can help the body respond to stress and provide balance. Holy basil is known for its actions as an immunomodulator and its ability to stimulate circulation. Bovine colostrum supports the immune system with over 80 different immune factors. With over 70 different growth factors, bovine colostrum plays an important role in tissue repair at the cellular level. Organic sesame seeds, organic yellow lentils, butternut squash, and organic orange powder are warming foods that help support a diverse colony of beneficial bacteria in the gut and help to increase circulation and maintain body warmth. The organic orange powder is made from whole organic oranges freeze-dried and then made into powder for their high vitamin C and bioflavonoid content. With this recent onslaught of cold air from Siberia, it's great to make up feed and add thermal to the feed buckets, helping the horses stay warmer, supporting better circulation, and providing variety foods for the microorganisms in the gut. But be forewarned, horses love thermal. And on a day that you decide not to feed it, you may get some snarky looks when the horses realize there is no thermal in their feed.
Real horses and real dogs are healthier, perform better, and recover more quickly on real food. That's why Biostar empowers horse and canine owners with 100% whole food nutrition, supplements, and feeding programs. Biostar products are made at their own certified non-GMO facility in Gordonsville, Virginia, using real food ingredients that are raw, freeze-dried, or dehydrated, never cooked, and are free from artificial flavors, colors, soy, corn, wheat, and molasses. The Biostar product line includes a wide range of whole food, horse and dog supplements, treats, and unique artisan poultices that embrace the ancient and traditional uses of clay and plants. Visit biostarus.com today and learn about whole foods and canine and equine nutrition so you can make the best decisions about the care and health of your horses and dogs. That's biostarus.com. Whole food nutrition the way nature intended.
And we've arrived at Coffee Clatch, one of our favorite segments.
It is
And
indeed.
we're talking about adding to the menagerie, which is our wish list for 2017, what domesticated animals we would like to add to our family of critters. Jennifer?
Why do I always have to go first?
Because you're so
Good.
good.
Yeah, I'm with her on that.
Now, I would love to add chickens to my menagerie.
Oh, awesome.
I
Yeah.
love
Yeah.
chickens. I had chickens before back in the day when we had a farm. And they're mesmerizing. I love to watch them wander around and cluck and dig, and they just look so content. I love chickens.
Yeah, I would.
You have chickens?
We do not now. We don't have chickens here. Here where we are at, because of the exceptional number of birds of prey. If you have chickens, you need to keep your chickens under a roof.
Oh.
And I don't believe in keeping chickens under roof. I think if you have chickens need to be able to wander and dig and fluff their feathers in the dust and to be a healthy, happy chicken.
thing.
You know, I don't want to have a chicken in a coop. I don't think that's a happy chicken.
No.
You know? So I just have to
Free
visit the
roaming
neighbors' chickens. Yeah.
get their eggs.
And get their eggs for glory.
Exactly.
How about you,
Exactly.
Patty P?
I have nothing I'd like to add except I want an elephant. And I know it's not domesticated, but I think that an elephant, sorry, I have the hiccups pretty badly. I want an elephant, and I think it would go great in my backyard. And I think that you can domesticate them just fine. So I'm thinking I would like chickens, Jen's chickens, and I want an elephant.
Well,
but that I don't need anything else because
is your neighborhood zoned for elephants?
No,
Yeah.
it's not even zoned for chickens. So I
That
feel
never
like I'm
stopped
already
you
going so
before?
outside of the box.
How about you, Tigger?
Alpaca.
Oh, is your
Very
alpaca
close to
going
an
to provide
elephant.
wool for knitting socks?
No, that would be a llama.
No, that's true. Ooh, emus would be fun.
There you go. You could spook all the horses with it.
Yeah.
No, I think alpacas. I would like to go take a hike with an alpaca. You know, I could stuff all the, camera equipment and
There you go.
frisbees for the dog.
I think you should do it. And I want pictures.
Actually, I'm with her on that. I'd like to see you.
I
train
want to see it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Pick that frisbee up for the dog.
There we go. Well, for everybody out there in the podcasting universe, if you've got a critter, domestic or otherwise, that you want to add to your menagerie in 2017, let us know by going on over to Facebook. What's the Facebook there, Tigger?
Healthy critters.
Healthy critter.
There you go. Like I ask you this every show. Go to Facebook and type in healthy critters and post on there what your critter is. Or if you've got recipes for homemade dog food, please put them there because I want to know, especially if they don't involve a fish.
And if I can't get an alpaca, I'd really like to have a little miniature goat.
There you go.
Yeah. My one client has goats, and I've never been a huge goat fan, but they have goat babies, and they actually have had some llamas too, which were pretty cool. I mean, I'm more interested in herding goats and sheep than I ever was because I have a herding breed of dog now. So it's interesting to see them do that. But goats are pretty cute.
Oh my God, the way they leap and jump. And you can use, why I would like to have a little goat is I think it would be great environmentally to mow the fence lines.
They can take some weeds down, I'll tell you.
There you
Some
go.
weeds.
And again, I want to see it, Tigger. Get yourself a half a dozen fainting goats and then turn your dogs
I've
loose.
always wanted a fainting goat.
I want a little dwarf goat. I want a little mini goat.
Well, fainting
something
goats are tiny. They only get to be about 18 inches tall. They're little bitty things.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're tiny.
You need to look up a fainting goat video. It is hysterical.
I've seen it.
You need
Oh my
one.
gosh.
You need one. There you go. Well, that's a wrap here, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to head on out of here. Like us
And
on
we'll
Facebook.
see you all in the new year.
We will.
Will.
Thanks for listening, everyone, and thanks to our sponsor, Biostar US. You can find them online at biostarus.com.
Get the Horse Radio Network phone app on iOS or Android by searching for Horse Radio Network in the App Store. It's free and easy to use.
For details about today's show, go to healthycrittersradio.com, where you can find links, photos, and more information about our guests.
As always, we love your feedback. Please follow us on Facebook under Healthy Critters Radio.
Be sure to visit all the great shows on Horse Radio Network at horseradionetwork.com.
Love your dog.
Hug your horse.
Feed your chickens.
Clean your litter box.
Dance with your goat.
Slither with your snakes.
Howl at the moon.
Hang with your hamster.
Party with your parrot.
Waddle with your walrus.
Your otter.
Cuddle your cow.
With your raptor.
Go chipping with your chipmunk.
And forgive your fox.
While hedging with your hog.
Also recommend that you rack with your raccoon.
Gyrate with your giraffe.
Meditate with a meerkat.
Uber with your orangutan.
Facebook with your flamingo.
Ponder with your panda.
Walk with your Wookiee.
Yawn with your yak.
Twitter with your toucan.
and reining with your reindeer.